All right. Give you a minute.
Yeah, my stuff is not,
Okay, I'll give you a minute.
all right. That thing is going slower. Yeah. You see that? Oh, okay. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. There it comes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Good.
Yeah.
Chris, you with us?
I am here.
All right.
Sharon, sorry I'm not there to help you with your computer.
I am too. I am too.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, both those that are present with us and those that are watching us live. Welcome to the Dawson County Board of Commissioners voting session. Today's Thursday, November 19th, 2020. We'll start out with a roll call. And as you can see, four of us are here, and Chris is on live with us. So we're all here. If you would please stand for a brief invocation and pledge. Bow your heads, please. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another day and for the blessings of life. We ask for knowledge and wisdom to carry out the business of this great community. Anything that we accomplish, we'll give you the honor and glory for us. In Christ's name, we do ask and pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there any announcements? Any announcements? We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. First up, we have the minutes of the work session held on November the 5th, 2020. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nix,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have the minutes of the voting session held on November 5th, 2020. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have the minutes of special call joint meeting held on November 17th, 2020. Any additions or deletions? Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that's approved 4-0. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. I do have two changes to the agenda, additions number 8 and 9 under new business. Number 8 will be replacing the Sheriff's K-9 Kennel Office that you heard earlier today, and number 9 being FY 2020 GDOT FTA Section 5311 transit contract that needs to be in by December the 1st. So I'll entertain a motion with those two changes.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that's approved 4-0. No one signed up for public comment in this segment. We'll move on to the public hearing. This is a public hearing for proposed FY 2021 budget. This is the first of 3 hearings. The second hearing will be held at 4 p.m. on December the 3rd, 2020, at the work session, and the third hearing will be held at the December 3rd, 2020 voting session immediately following the work session. We are required to have 2 hearings, but we have decided to have 3 to give our public the opportunity to speak. So is there anyone here? I'll open this hearing. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on the proposed FY 2021 budget? Anyone here wishes to speak on the proposed FY 2021 budget? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. Our second hearing, as I said, will be at 4 o'clock on December 3rd, and the third hearing will be that same day in our voting session. All right, we'll move on to our zoning. I'll go over our zoning rules. Prior to that, we'll hear from our planning director. He'll present the application and recommendation of the planning commission. Then we will hear from the applicant. Then we'll open the hearing. We'll hear from those who are in favor of the application, hear from those who are opposed to the application. Each person wishing to speak will be allotted 3 minutes per our zoning guidelines. Anyone who speaks will need to sign in, give us your name and your address. The sheet is up here with the pens here. Also, if anyone has donated $250 or more to any candidate, you will need to fill out a form stating so, which our clerk has. All right, first up, we have ZA 20-15. I'm going to mess up this name, I'm sure. Armium Vasquez? That anywhere close? Request to rezone tax map parcel L15-116009 from RA Residential Agricultural to CHI Commercial Highway Intensive for the purpose of opening a landscape supply business. That's on Highway 53 East. Jameson.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Velasquez owns an existing landscaping business that's operated in the county for over a decade. He is currently licensed to operate just across where they're trying to rezone, just across 53, located at 18 Blue Ridge Overlook. He's looking to rezone parcel L15-116009 from RA to Commercial Highway Intensive in order to move his business to that location. This property is just on the left side. If you're going out War Hill past to the 53 intersection at 400, it's just at the top of the hill right before you get to the intersection of War Hill and Blue Ridge Overlook. So it's just on the left at the top of the hill. No significant comments were returned from our interdepartmental forums other than coordination with GDOT for their entrance. And that will happen at the plan review stage if this is approved. And as you know, Commercial Highway Intensive is not yet in our comprehensive plan. It's one of the new zoning classifications that we presented earlier this year. This area is called out as commercial highway business on our comprehensive plan, but the planning department sees this as an appropriate use for this property. The planning commission recommended approval with no stipulations, and I will entertain any questions at this time.
So this is called out on our future plan
As commercial highway business, yes,
and what type of businesses are called out on that? Or, for example, does it fit?
it does.
Okay.
It does.
And there's going to be improvements to the road there?
Not improvements to the road, but
Driveways.
they will have to,
Commercial.
yeah, have to improve the site in order to accommodate that business. Yes.
Whatever DOT recommends.
DOT, it's a state highway, so it's located on a state highway. So GDOT will have the final say on the entrance there.
Do you see that there would be a problem
No,
with that being a commercial driveway?
no, ma'am. That we have identified that little corridor there as potential commercial in our future land use plan. So
Now, the other business is going to be closed down? Is that what on the 18 Blue Ridge Overlook?
I will leave that question to the applicant.
Okay, I thought I heard that somewhere from, must have been Chris talking or something. But is
Me.
Huh? Two businesses instead of one?
I don't know what the intentions of the other property is. The other property is commercial highway business is zoned already at that location.
Jameson, is the new 53 overlay, does this location, is it impacted by that?
Yes, it will be. As soon as that is approved and at the time of the development, yes, all of those overlay requirements will be, the site will have to be brought up to those standards at time of development. Yes.
Other questions for James? James, the side setbacks and the rear setbacks on the, especially on the side setback where the subdivision comes up to that 25 feet, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the board could add an additional 10 feet according to our regulations.
Yes, it says in our land use resolution that whenever a commercial property abuts a residential property, the Board of Commissioners or the Planning Commission can ask for an additional 10-foot vegetative buffer in between that. So it'll change the buffer from 25 to 35 feet.
Other questions of James?
So that's what you were talking about in this comment on development support and constraints. The parcel will need to install a commercial entrance, and there are also topography and residential buffers that will need to be considered. Is that what you're talking about
Yes.
now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it's what now? What'd you say, how many feet?
25.
And we can do 10.
Yes, ma'am.
I like 10 more.
It's 25 on the sides. On the rear right now would be a 50-foot buffer because it
Okay.
it abuts residential agriculture.
I guess the question, I didn't look at the picture. Is that vegetated already, undisturbed? I mean, is there trees and stuff there now?
It is. It's already
So we could ask for undisturbed, but I mean, undisturbed addition buffer. In other words, don't clear it, plant back, leave what's there.
yes.
Okay.
Do you see that picture? You don't have your computer. It's got it looks like vines and all kinds of stuff.
Other questions for James? Thank you, sir. We may have some more. In a little while. Is the applicant present? All right, come on up and tell us what you'd like to do. Name and address.
What is going on? Am I hearing stuff? He practicing guitar.
Chris, is that you?
He muted himself again.
Okay.
Okay.
He did.
Restrictions on where tractor. That's the
What?
question, if we have any restrictions on where, because I know there's tractor trailers at their existing location that store pine straw and things like that. Do we have the ability to push those back to the back piece of the property? Is that within our ability, so they're not just right on the front of the road? That's a question for Jameson.
James. Y'all step over here for just a second. Let him answer that.
We currently do not have those restrictions at the moment. That is certainly a suggestion that can happen, but that is obviously one of the things that we will be addressing in that 53 overlay.
Commissioner Gaines, this is Angie. I do think we could make that a condition, though, is we could identify where such storage could take place as a stipulation to the approval.
Thank you.
All right, come back up. Tell us what you'd like to do. Give us your name.
Go ahead, just tell them what you're doing, where you're moving from.
I'm gonna be moving from 18 Blue Ridge Overlook. My business has been in there for a while, so what I'm doing is I'm buying this piece of property to move the business to there because I'm renting where I am right now. It's the only reason I buy this piece of property for, if you can.
So the location, you're behind the
Relocate,
you're behind the restaurant?
Yes.
Are you gonna keep that location or shut
No,
it down?
I'm gonna close it down.
He's renting it.
Okay.
Mhm. How many acres is this?
6.6.
Okay,
6.6.
yeah, I couldn't remember.
Is it your intent to push the business portion of this to the back of that lot?
Yes.
So it won't be on the road?
No, it won't be close to the road. It'll be pretty far behind. It's already a lot over there. It's been cleaned up a long time ago. I think it's a brick company used to be over there back in 2008 when everything went down. So it's already a big and driveway and everything going to that place right there.
Would be to-
Existing driveway
Your
already.
intent would be to use the already graded out
Yes, yes,
spot,
yes.
which is at the back of the property,
It's right, almost in the middle of the property.
in the middle of the
Yeah.
property. Okay. How far off the road is that?
Ooh, 100 feet, 150 feet.
Other questions of the applicant? Thank you. May I have some more later? At this time, I'll open this hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve with this two stipulations, the additional 10 feet, which would make it 35 on the side, and then also to comply, the whole development to comply with the 400 overlay requirements. I mean, with that, Jameson talked about that would be in that.
James?
Well, now exactly what would that be?
53.
53.
53.
The 53.
Oh,
Because didn't you say that would be in that, they'd have to,
Yes, as soon as we get the 53 overlay approved and passed, anything developed at this, on this site, post that, will have to
well, what
follow
if-
that.
okay, but.
It's currently not within the 400 corridor
mhm.
okay,
overlay.
So we don't have to, we won't do that then? Because
Uh,
it sounds like he's going to be ready to start moving tomorrow. So he would not be,
He would not have to follow the 400 corridor as of right
Okay.
now.
all right, we'll strike that one then. The additional 35 feet, yes.
Additional.
And
And then I
what was
think-
Chris talking? Chris,
And I think he made it clear
Trailer.
that this,
Trailer.
he's going to build in the middle of the 6 acres. And so that would
Yes.
be far enough off the road.
road.
So I don't have to, I feel comfortable with that.
Well, and if I may, commissioners, if that's something that's very important to you, then certainly we can't hold him necessarily accountable for what he might say here. If you're really concerned about that, I would make that a stipulation that it's, and you could engage with him to decide what's a reasonable setback from the front and the sides. But only enforcement would only be available to us by having a set stipulation.
I would like to make the comment, my biggest concern is, and I'm not sure if it's the exact same place that he's talking about, but there's a landscape supply next to, I believe it's the Chevron gas station there, and there's tractor trailers that are parked parallel to the road. So it's something that we're trying to accomplish in the 53 overlay is beautification as part of a community improvement overall. And so I would like to see a stipulation that that if you can't place the tractor trailers, the big broad side of the tractor trailers out of view of the road on 53, then you would be required to put some type of vegetative screen to mitigate that just big blank canvas on the side of a tractor trailer truck that might hold pine straw or whatnot. And that might be a question for the applicant if he's okay with that.
looks like there'd be enough room in this to, get those trailers out of view.
You're saying, a question for you as the applicant, where they wouldn't see the trailers from the main road?
I don't think he's understanding what you,
He's like 100 yards. You can show you on the map. So it would point out on the map where that graded clear it is now, and it has gravel saturation on the parking, and you can't see it. It's more like 300 feet.
oh,
But he can point it out on the map.
Chairman, can I ask a question?
Stipulation says that the tractor trailers will be screened from.
Yes, he's willing to that stipulation.
okay, that's
Okay, that would
good.
be the third one then.
All right, so let's restate this.
That's right.
If I may,
Go ahead.
the two stipulations would be, one would be the additional 10 feet buffer that is called out in our land use resolution. And the second would be the agreement that any tractor trailers parked on site would be screened from 53.
That's the only two stipulations.
Was there a setback requirement that you wanted to provide in addition?
I think that's going to take care of the 35, isn't it?
Well, that's on the side.
The setback would be, the additional 10 feet would be on the side.
Okay.
There's already a required 40 feet from the front.
Is
I
40
guess
foot
the
adequate?
question, I know Chris had asked, if the tractor trailers, I know screen, but could they be put on the, I think he wanted it at the edge of the property, not on the frontage part of the property. In other words, the back edge of the property, as far as he could get them off. I don't know what this,
Sounds like the clear spot is about 300 feet off the road.
Well, I thought he said you couldn't see them anyway.
Yeah.
Is that not what you said? That you couldn't see them anyway?
but out of sight from who?
I think that
Yeah.
I think that would
Well,
take care of
and
it.
I'm concerned about the word screened and what that means as well. So, I mean, I think we need to define these conditions a little bit more specifically if we're going to have them understand what we want and us be able to enforce. So do we mean screening by vegetative buffer? You know, is it evergreen trees planted 6 feet apart at a height of 6 feet of planting? I mean, we need to be specific about what the screening means if that's important. And it may be that the setback, if we say you're building 350 feet off of the road, maybe that solves it without, you know, an ambiguous screening, you know, statement. I don't know, not knowing this tract. But I think we need to pin those down. I just hate for you to be disappointed
I know.
in what you expect without being very specific.
Jameson, have you been on this side?
I sure would
I
like to
have,
go
I have. And
myself.
where this clearing is, if you were to drive back there, it's pretty much screened already from 53. So if he were the cleared out area, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the cleared out area is quite a distance from 53. And if those trailers were to be parked back there, you couldn't see them from 53 as is.
Is that cleared out area at the edge of the property? It look like on the rear?
It's not close to the rear. It's closer actually to the middle, closer to the Sundown subdivision neighborhood side, where the additional 10-foot buffer would apply the most.
Angie,
Yes.
can we give staff
Uh-oh, he's
the
going quick.
control or ability to stipulation, just give them?
Chris, you really broke up. We weren't able to understand anything you said, I'm afraid. Can you try again?
Hello?
Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah, so can we give staff the ability to control that in a stipulation?
Well, I
They
think
don't know
to
what
the
we
extent
want.
it's vague and gives complete discretion to Jameson, he probably doesn't want that, and it's really would be difficult for us to enforce. I mean, one option, and I don't know if there's a sale of property closing that's at issue, but I heard Commissioner Fawcett say she'd like to see it. I
I
mean, we
would.
could always postpone it to the next meeting and let's work out some conditions that the property owner is comfortable with, as well as you. And the way this is going right now, I think that might be the best recommendation, unless there's a closing that's at stake or something immediate.
Is
That couldn't wait
Is
till
there a
next
time
meeting.
limit for him?
Well, the thing is, they're good enough that hole where I am right now in the gas station. They keep twisting me down more.
The next meeting will be in 2 weeks.
2
Yeah,
weeks?
uh-huh.
You know, that would be the time we could come back to the board for.
Well, and it may be that we ultimately mark it on a site plan, you know, on the map, and I think that could be workable, but I'm afraid doing it here on the fly that it may not be as defined as we would.
I need to go see something.
We do a vegetation.
Mhm. I can't hear. Was Jim, you want to talk, speak?
Well, the public hearing's closed, right? I
Yes,
mean,
it's closed. Hold on.
Okay.
is he a representative of the applicant or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You're not representing the applicant, right?
I just had a suggestion.
Okay, that's
Well, is it all right with him? Does it mess up a closing if we table this?
Doesn't sound.
Cause I can't hear what they're saying in the mask and,
Why don't you, and address the board about timeline that needed to be approved today?
yes. If this were postponed to the December 3rd meeting,
Mhm.
would that mess you up about
It
a
messed me up a
closing?
little bit, yeah, because my rent due it at 25th every month, so
Oh.
Okay, why don't we just add a vegetation then?
Let me ask, can I ask James that question?
Yeah.
James,
Yeah.
in your, when you require vegetated screening, do y'all specify what type of trees or anything like that?
We do.
What do you specify?
I don't have that in front of me, but we have and that's located in our landscaping and buffer ordinance that we have. And it goes through what types of screenings and how the
So,
pot sizes and
so
heights.
can we make that motion
That's
for
sad.
Jameson to make that type of vegetated buffer from your ordinances? I mean, as far as if it's Leland cypress, green giants or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
The intent is to mitigate the view as much as possible. It might not be completely possible to fully mitigate it, but as much as possible, put the trailers as far back as possible off the front of the road. And then with the addition of any evergreens or whatever it may be, per Jameson's guidebook, that would be my biggest concern and the way I'd like to see it done.
Do you feel comfortable doing that?
I
I
would
see
feel,
some
I would feel more
hesitation.
comfortable with just a stipulation saying that the tractor trailers have a good buffer screening at the discretion of the planning director. I know that's probably not as
That's probably not
specific.
enforceable. So, I mean,
Right.
if you give complete discretion, you haven't set a standard. So that's my concern. So if it's important to you, I think we need to nail it down or we need to postpone it and get it right.
Okay.
That's my recommendation. Now, there's a reference to the code section having screening guide, standards. And I don't know what that is. I mean, if you could say it will be screened according to section such and such of the zoning resolution, but I'm not sure if one size fits all there. I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, it probably
I
does.
know he's got his rent due and I understand about rent, but I'm telling you, this is just too much in the air for me to even make a decision.
So
For me, I need to table. I don't know how y'all feel and I understand what you're saying, but this is a big decision and it'll be there a long time. And if we have to look at something ugly, that's gonna bother us. You see? So. for me-
Angie, could we potentially say we would approve it without any tractor trailers on property until the vegetative screen is approved by the planning director?
Let's get too complicated.
Well, I mean, essentially, I'm not even sure what you mean. I think that's just kind of a different way of saying that the discretion is being given to the
It
planning
is.
director to apply that. I mean, so, typically if we would have a condition potentially that would say, here's the screening required and have a belt and suspenders approach that it would be approved by staff. But I think we need some standard so staff has something to go by. I don't think
Mhm.
Jameson would want, nor you
He
want for
doesn't.
him to have totally, it left to his unfettered discretion without any guidelines. Now, maybe there's guidelines in the code, but,
He doesn't have his, he's not.
yeah. So he says not specifically. So with that in mind, I think, that would be a concern.
Right, so. Sounds like there is some consensus towards the potential of tabling. You have a motion on the floor. We do not have a second for that, or do you wish to withdraw your motion at this time? That motion is withdrawn. Do I have another motion?
I make a motion that we table this to December 3rd.
Motion to table to December 3rd. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett, seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion.
Jameson, can you meet him on site sometime next week or so and see where he's gonna put the trailers at? Absolutely. Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that's 4-0. It's tabled. Here's that again on December 3rd. Next up, we have ZA 20-16, Jim King on behalf of Deborah Barnaby, request to rezone 0.8 acres of tax map parcel LO8-115-004 from RA residential agriculture to RL residential lakefront. This is on Nix Bridge Road. James.
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Barnaby is looking to rezone the 0.8 acres from RA to residential lakefront at 1239 Nix Bridge Road. Her intentions, as he stated, is to build a single-family home on that property. The surrounding properties are residential agriculture and RSR, but it is designated on our future land use map as lakefront residential. So rezoning this, the portion, the 0.8 portion of this property would bring this into line with our comprehensive plan and our future land use map. The Planning Commission also recommended approval with this with no stipulations.
Questions for Jameson?
Just a minute. This says, well, I read it somewhere. RA would require the residents to be on water and septic. When we say water, do we mean a well?
No, water would be water that is a
Is it all,
utility. that's run-
is the water and sewer there?
Water should be there.
Water? But they have to do a septic tank.
They would have to do a septic tank. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I just found it strange that environmental health didn't make a comment on that. You know, when there's got to be a septic tank. Is
They
that big
generally don't
enough?
comment unless they see the reports from the soil samples and everything from the site, and they're just not to that point yet. They do. It is possible, even in our regulations, for if you have water to be on septic tank in this on that size property in this area.
So you don't see that would be a problem.
No, ma'am.
Looks like to me though, that would be settled before we come to rezoning, but anyway. That's me.
Actually, have a lot of lakefront property that has much less acres than that,
Do you?
Yes,
that
ma'am.
have septic tanks. Other
I
questions
just
for
thought you
James?
had to have a lot more land than that to do a septic tank. Okay. Well, I did up my neck of the woods, so maybe,
All about the perk test.
yeah, okay,
All about that.
okay, all right.
All right. Is the applicant present? All right, Jim, come on up. You're representing the applicant. Tell us what you want to do.
Jim King, 416 Overlook Circle, Dawsonville, Georgia, representing the applicant Deborah Barnaby. She happens to be one of my neighbors, and she lives off the lake, currently lives in a house off the lake. She's always dreamed of living on the lake, and this opportunity came up where she could actually buy this parcel, and she did. Unfortunately, it's not zoned for lake residential like everything around it. So we're having to go through this process. And she is a nervous wreck. So she asked me to represent her tonight in speaking. So,
Did she even come? Is she out there somewhere?
yeah, but she might be too scared to raise her
Where is
hand.
she?
I don't know.
She's in the back.
Where? Oh, well, won't you stand up and let us look
Oh,
at you?
no, Sharon, come on. You'll,
Listen, I've had my rabies shot. I got a 3-year rabies shot, so I'm not gonna bite you.
she's very adverse to public speaking. So. And even standing up in public. But anyway, this opportunity became available, so they bought the property, but then it's not zoned lake residential. My lot, I live on a 1/4 acre lot on the lake. It's got a septic tank and
Okay.
public water. My parents, well, deceased now, live right down the road. They live on 1/3 of an acre lot, and this is 8/10 of an acre, so it's, 3 times
Bigger, yeah,
the size of those. So it's very common right around the lake.
yeah. Okay.
All the old stuff that was developed back in the 70s and 80s, all of it on small lots. But it does meet the land use plan, and, and she will have to get soil test done for septic before they'll allow her to get and it'll have to be approved by the health department before they'll give her a building permit. That's a requirement. Any questions?
Questions of the applicant? Thank you.
Mhm.
This time I'll open this hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Not in. Dan?
I am Danny Thompson, and I reside at 1289 Nix Bridge Road. This property will adjoin my property on 2 sides. We look forward to Miss Barnaby building back there and being a good neighbor. This property only has 3 borders. The Duncan's border the other side, and the rest of it would be Army Corps.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone else here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, I'll close this hearing. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. ZA 2016 is approved 4-0. Move on to ZA 2017, J.C. Jones request to rezone tax map parcel 110025 from RSR residential sub-rural to RSR MM residential sub-rural manufactured move for the purpose of moving in a stick-built home, and this is on Cawthron Road. James.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't believe there's a whole lot more to say than that, other than that this is at 869 Cawthron Road, which is on the northern portion of the road, close to 136. Mr. Jones is looking to rezone from RSR to RSMM, which would actually bring this parcel into compliance now, but he is looking to remove the existing mobile home there and move in another home that he has found off a different site that is stick-built, and then place it in that general location. The Planning Commission heard this and recommended approval with no stipulations. Any questions?
Questions for James? Thank you, sir. Is the applicant present? Come on up. Tell us what you'd like to do. Put your name and address on that piece of paper.
Could I ask you before it starts, is it 861 or 869?
861.
Okay, I saw 869's in part of
That's
it.
where I live. I live behind 861.
Oh, okay.
And it was my mama's place. And when she died, I paid all her bills and I took that over. And now it's got a double wide trailer. on it. Still got power, water and everything on it. And I found this brick house and I'm buying it and I'm having it moved in the place of the trailers for my son. And that's what I'm doing for the land there. Like I said, it's got the well and everything on it.
Is the trailer going to be moved off?
Yeah, yeah. The house, matter of fact, is gonna sit where the trailer's gonna be at.
Okay,
May be off, here and there, but it's gonna be about the same spot the trailer's gonna be.
but you are removing it from the premises.
Yes.
Other questions of the applicant? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll open this hearing. Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Hearing none, I'll close that hearing. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
by Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And ZA 20-17 is approved 4-0. Next up, we have VR 20-21 Dawson Forest Partners GA request to vary from Dawson County Land Use Resolution Article 3, Section 314.L.1-2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 regarding roads and utilities and residential planned communities, tax map parcel 087-001. I will inform the board and the people that are present that the applicant is not with us tonight. He has tested positive for COVID. We will go ahead and have the hearing because the people have come to be heard. So we will have that part, and then it'll be up to the board if they wish to table to hear from the applicant when he is able to be with us. So Jameson.
Thank you. So I'll just jump right in. Dawson Forest Partners is looking to appeal the decision of the Planning Commission for denying their variance application for dedicating the roads within the Etowah Preserve neighborhood to the county. The Planning Commission denied the application based on the lack of evidence presented there to be a practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship for the variance. Staff was not in favor of the variance presented based on hardship and the general precedents it would set. It was noted that granting this variance did not guarantee acceptance into the county maintenance program. This decision is with the Board of Commissioners. Granting this variance would merely allow the applicant to apply for the variance without a violation of our land use resolution. So currently our land use resolution says that all roads in RPC have to be private. And so they applied for that, so they could apply to the Board of Commissioners for it to be accepted into the county maintenance program. I'll entertain any questions.
Question for James.
This is what we discussed earlier when Dave McKee brought it.
Yes.
Yes, there is some confusing and somewhat contradicting language, like he stated earlier, in between our land use resolution and our subdivision regulations. Our land use resolution was updated. So RPCD was the original land use classification. It was updated to RPC. The D was dropped out later on. But the portion about the roads being private have been in there since 1998. So that was the intent, for the roads to be maintained privately by the homeowners association. And that was done in 1998. Since then, we have updated our subdivision regulations to state that all roads in every neighborhood, every subdivision have to be brought up to county standards. That's a standard policy across all neighborhoods, no matter what zoning district they're in.
But they still have to come before the commission if the commission has a vote to accept them.
Yes, that is correct.
Other questions for James? Or David? Either one? All right. As I I stated, the applicant is not present. So we will move on as our normal procedure is, because people came to the meeting, we will go ahead and have the hearing. So I'll open the hearing at this time. Anyone here to speak in favor of the variance? Speak in favor of the variance, the application, variance application. Anyone here to speak in favor? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the variance application? Come on up. Give us your name and your address, and please fill this out for me. Thank you, sir.
I'm Hugh Stowers Jr. I live at 800 Hugh Stowers Road. I'm tired. I'm very tired. These developers come in here, they buy something, they want you to come in and take a load, put the bill on the taxpayer. I even read the application. He wants the county to take over the road, where's the bills from? You got a professional engineer, he has forgotten more about building roads, as to talk to him. He's your county manager. You can't put up a road and just take it over. You don't know if they're right or not. Fall apart 3 months. So I'm tired. So you want us to go in there and let the taxpayer pay for it. Now, I guess I don't see anything in there where he's gonna do anything to protect their school children coming out on Dawson Forest Road. I don't see anything where he's gonna do anything to protect their emergency service personnel who's trying to get out there to save a life. It's sick to even bring up something like this. I'm against it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the variance application? Come on up. Give us your name and your address. Please sign in.
My name is Beth Martin. I live at 586 Brights Way. And this variance provides no benefit to our current county residents and is actually detrimental for the entire county to be burdened with our county tax dollars paying for the maintenance of the roads in a residential planned community while making it more marketable for the developer. This variance, if granted, would require more than 95% of the county residents, taxpayers, who will probably never use these roads as they are not through roads, to become taxed for maintaining them, while also being responsible for maintaining the roads they live on, should they be private or like I am, or through their homeowners association if they live in another residential planned community, while lining the pockets of the developer because it's easier or better for them. I hope your vote will reflect your county residents as well as your own bank accounts and tax bills instead of the out-of-town developer and their profit margins and easier marketability.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone else here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none, I'll close that hearing. The recommendation to the board would be to table because we haven't heard from the applicant until he is able to be with us. What's the pleasure of the board?
So move.
Motion to table by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
second by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion.
We don't know a date yet, so I guess they need to get back in touch with Jameson to.
Yeah, we don't know
Okay.
when that. Any other discussion? Now, we could put a date on that. We could go 30 days. That's usually enough time for this type of situation to clear up. If that's what the board wanted to do, or if you wanted to add that to your motion.
What's the
But
second?
you
What's the
said
second?
sometimes we don't have to. Angie, hadn't you told us before we don't have to put a date?
You don't. The only reason you might want to do it is with interested residents here who may want to know when they can anticipate
Oh,
it coming
okay.
back. That would be the only reason, but
When's
no,
our
you
s-
don't have to
When's our
specify.
second meeting in December?
17th.
17th?
There'll be a lot coming up. But I don't have a problem with setting a date. I just, don't know how long
We can
it'll
wait.
take the fella to get over it,
All right, that's
you
fine.
know, and what
Okay.
shape he'll be in.
All right, we'll wait. We have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And that is approved 4-0 to table. All right, we'll move on to new business. First up, we have consideration of request to apply for Georgia Forestry Commission Volunteer Fire Assistance 50/50 grant. Chief Thompson presented that to you. I think that's a $10,000 grant. Match will be $5,000, which he has in his budget, correct? FY 2021. Any other information needed? Motion.
Motion, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nix.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And that's approved 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of request for fundraiser to benefit emergency services. I think this attorney sent you out some information on that. Ms. Davis, do you want to elaborate on that, please?
Well, and perhaps the Chief Thompson may want to come forward and speak about the logistics of the program. I believe that was introduced to you at the last work session, and at the time it was new information, and so we have reviewed it a little bit further. I provided you an attorney-client privileged memo that addresses some of the issues that could be of concern or certainly of consideration for the county. But if the chief, I think, might want to clarify a few things as to how his employees would be participating.
Yeah, so Chairman, board members, I want to make clear that first and foremost, our personnel will not be selling any of these tickets on duty. There will be no internal memos, emails, or dissemination of the fundraiser by us at all through the county project. We will allow the American Woodmen Association to kind of spearhead getting the project and getting the fundraiser out to the community. Our people, yes, I foresee them being asked, hey, can I buy 2 tickets? And we'll say, yep, let us give you the person over at the American Woodmen who can get that to you and everything else. To the next part, because it is a gun giveaway, county will not be giving away guns. It is the fundraiser who will, and they will still go through the same criminal background checks, the same, carrying permits that's required by Georgia law. There's no circumventing that portion of that whatsoever. So I know that was some discussion that we had in reference to that, but I just kind of wanted to make sure that the board was clear. Really, we're letting the American Woodmen push the fundraiser out, do the fundraiser, and then we reap the benefits back of it. And I'll try to answer any questions, and if I can't, maybe Miss Alex can.
Questions?
Now, when you said they were not be selling tickets on duty, does that mean off duty they would be selling?
If they so choose to, we will not require any employee to do anything that he or she doesn't want to do, period.
And we still don't have a clue, no way of knowing how much money we're talking about, do we?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's $40 a ticket. Is that right? And a maximum of 1,000 tickets. So your upside maximum sales would be, what is that math? 40,000?
20,000. Yeah, so we would benefit from 20,000.
Benefit how much?
20,000.
Oh, you only get half of it.
Oh.
Oh, okay. So 20,000. Okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Mhm.
Other questions?
The is there a place that is donating these guns? This
No, ma'am.
business?
So the guns will come out of some of the ticket sales. That's why only part of the proceeds will go to the fire department. And so the ticket sales will pay for the guns through Freedom Mill, which is over in Forsyth County off of Highway 9.
Does it go by another name?
It used to be Country Folks. And they've just recently changed it within the past year, I do believe.
Other questions? Thank you. Motions.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Satterfield. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Seconded by Commissioner Gaines. Discussion.
Chairman, I'd like to, I mean, in the past, in the history of fire service, I mean, you've got the Firefighters Association that go around selling or soliciting, and not with the fire department in their location, in their jurisdiction, but they sell for memberships. I know years ago, there was a company that sold fire prevention material, and they asked permission to come in the county, and they solicited. The fire department didn't go out and solicit, but they went out and solicited and gave proceeds back to the fire department. So this is done all over the country, and more so in volunteer departments where they don't have the monies to buy the truck and fuel. And so it's not uncommon across this United States that they do things like this.
Other discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of IFB number 372-20, Harry Sosby Road, Lumpkin Campground Road roundabout. David presented that last couple of weeks ago. Any other information needed on that? David, you want to just update us a little bit on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ow, that shocked me. Sorry, I'm awake now. I don't have any specific updates, other than I do want to make it clear that there will be a 30-day road, up to a 30-day road closure as part of this. We will advertise as such. We'll put the detours out. We'll work with both Forsyth Dawson and Forsyth County EMS and fire departments, as well as the school board. So I just want to make sure that we're clear that under this proposal, we have no choice in the matter but to close it for that time.
Is that also some improvement on some pipes and stuff for
The reason for the road closure is, yes, upgrading the pipes.
which we've had?
The pipes that are there, any rain to speak of overtops the road.
We've had multiple calls on that.
Yes, and,
Okay.
and this, yes. The roundabout sits over the top of those pipes. So there's no way to construct the roundabout without making that upgrade.
Do we have an estimated time when this is going to happen?
So yes, we've had multiple meetings with, because there's a lot of construction going on in the area. So it's a 10-week lead time from the date they order the pipes. It'll be 3 or 4 weeks worth of plans, specs back and forth. So 14 weeks from the date they, roughly, from the date they order the pipes. So when is this going to happen? It's in reality, probably March or April, before we physically close the road. Staff won't allow the road closure until the materials are there, equipment's there, everything's ready so that we can keep it closed as least amount of time as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Any other information needed? Thanks, David. Motions.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And IFB 372-20 is approved 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of 2020 capital improvement element adoption. Any other information needed? Jameson presented that. It went to DCA, came back with a few updates that needed to be made to it. That's been done, and so now we're ready for adoption. Any other information needed? Motions.
Motion to approve the adoption.
Motion by Commissioner Nix,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. And capital improvement element is adopted 4-0. Next up, we have consideration of 2021 supplements for elected officials. Brad brought that to us. That was for the chief magistrate, the associate magistrate, and then the sheriff. As Brad stated in his presentation, the chief magistrate and associate magistrate was approved for the position, not the person, by previous boards, and that was based on the amount of time that position requires, and that would keep them in line with our department heads and other elected officials. The sheriff is a supplement that has been going on for 20-plus years, all the way back, I guess, for 3 sheriffs now. So what's the pleasure of the board, or do you have any other information you need from Brad before you vote or make a motion? Anybody need any other information?
I just got a question. I know supplements and stipends and things like that, we've done in the past. Is there any kind of, I know we do cost of living sometime, and these things have been set for 20-something years at a certain amount. Does that happen throughout the state or other areas that they give a percentage of increase over the years, or the staffings always stay the same?
Well, for the past years, as far as I know, and as far back as I could research, it was always that COLA that the
Same
state
thing.
gave.
Okay.
And what they did is they did away with that this year. It was about 5% that the base salary for those elected officials. And then a couple of the elected officials still got a 2021 2%. Not all of them. But after you do that calculation, then you add the supplements back in. But they did away with the 15 line items, if you will, of adding the 2%, 2%.
I just didn't know if the state did that part or we did that part. Or
No, that's been the state.
State.
There have been, I think in 2019, the state did not give a 2%, but the board did vote to give that to our elected officials.
Okay.
Yes.
I wish.
Brad, I know you don't have Nicole in there, Nicole Stewart with the tax commissioner. And there was some ambiguity that we dealt with last year with some issues on the way it was accidentally done. I would like to propose to the board that we see a supplement added to her. She is running a great department there, and the collection rate, the data that supports that effort in her management down there. So I'd like to see us consider adding something there as well.
So just to review, last year, she was given a supplement for ex officio sheriff. That was the $4,197.36. That was given to her twice in error. We passed a resolution to remove that. And then any other local supplements would be at the pleasure of the board. That $4,197.36 is a state mandated supplement, is a statutory supplement. So that is in there.
Correct. You got that one. We removed the second one. It would be my recommendation. We look at adding a local supplement of $4,000 in addition to the state one that's there.
Brad, if you will, let's name the, like, chief magistrate and how much we're talking about. Let's get the dollar amounts.
Okay, sure. So Chief Magistrate was granted an $8,000 additional supplement by the board. And I believe the chairman touched base on that at the last meeting due to the hours they work to bring them up to what our directors are making and other chief magistrates for a county our size. The magistrate, or also referred to as the associate magistrate, there was a supplement of $5,384, again, given by the board. But there was also a $1,815.28 for performance. And my suggestion was to move the $1,815.28 from the magistrate or associate magistrate position with the person who happens to be Judge Tarnacki. So his would come to about $9,815.28.
We added to the 8,000.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And then the magistrate's salary, in speaking with Judge Tarnacki, and I believe the chairman did as well, the $5,384, if we keep that supplement, again, that's a local supplement, that's going to make us competitive. Judge Tarnacki has mentioned that he's got a candidate in mind. It's an appointed position by him. That would make it competitive, make it more attractive for that person to come on board and serve the county. And if
But
that
it would
person,
just be the 5384.
that would bring it up to,
But that would be the
Right,
amount of the
exactly,
supplement.
correct,
Not,
right.
not the 1815, which
Correct.
would be go to the chief magistrate.
correct, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, I see. Okay, okay.
And then looking at salaries, if we can't recruit that person, it's still a competitive salary. So it's, I believe, the right thing to do to bring in the quality of people we need.
So what was the next ones? I guess we wanted to list them all.
The tax commissioner's next.
Right, so the tax commissioners, it's a statutory supplement that she receives right now, $4,197.36. So
That's not up for discussion.
exactly, right,
Mhm,
right.
Yes.
The discussion would be if the board, as Commissioner Gaines had mentioned, if you wanted to add a local supplement. That local supplement then, once approved, every term would have to be approved again.
Mhm.
Mr. Gaines, your recommendation was 4,000?
Yeah, I mean, and that's, again, I'm open to discussion on that, but just due to performance, I feel like for me, that's a good number.
Right, next is Sherry.
Sheriff?
So the sheriff, he has a statutory supplement for $4,630.80. Again, no action required by the board. We did find the local supplement at $10,417. We did research that back as far as we could. At one point, it was given by ACCG. Couldn't find any information where ACCG absorbed it into a salary or did anything with it, but we've been carrying it on. And we did write the resolution that we need to address that at each term.
Okay.
And so that's what's up for discussion is the
That's where we're
10-4.
at today.
Okay.
I will add, just for the board's knowledge, public's knowledge, is that we do give supplements to other departments. Matter of fact, in Superior Court, I think we pay out about $160-something thousand worth of supplements. In Superior Court, I was going to verify that with Miss Vicky, but I don't see her. But I know our Superior Court judges get a supplement, and just about everybody that works, whether they work here or in Hall County, seems to get a supplement as well. In that as well. So with that, is there any other information needed? Motion.
Well, I would like to make the motion that we do these supplements as Brad read. And I would agree with Chris to do a 4,000 local supplement for the tax commissioner.
Okay, so we have that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett, seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0. So Brad, you got all that, right? Okay. Next up, we have consideration of correction to previously approved 2021 holiday and payroll calendar. I think that had to do with the payroll. And so.
26 instead of 27
Yeah.
periods.
And so that correction's been made. Any other information needed? Saw the new sheet. All right, motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Nix,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0. Next up, we have ratification of Veterans Memorial Park bore casing emergency repair. You'll remember you were emailed in reference to an emergency project that needed to be taken care of before the track fell in. So we're here to ratify that. Is any more information needed? Motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion to
Ratification.
ratify.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion to ratify by Commissioner Satterfield,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Fawcett. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that ratification is approved 4-0. Next up, we have replacement of the sheriff's K-9 kennel unit. Sheriff's request was to use $80,000 of his money that he currently has in his budget, as well as the removal of the existing facility that's out there that was deemed to be worth $8,000, which I agree with Ms. Sharon's probably worth $8 instead of $8,000. And part of that was, Chris, was for that to go to an IFB, is that correct? Or an IFB? As part of that request as well. Any other information needed?
Did that cost include removal of the old one? And
I think so.
I think it was total because the new building's only 60-something thousand. I think it's total, building the deck and removal.
County manager says yes.
80,000.
Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Satterfield.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0. Lastly, we have FY 2022 GDOT FTA Section 5311 transit contract. It's something that we have every year. It's a 50-50 match. We get part of that back with what we make off of the rides. I think that was somewhere in the neighborhood of $140-something thousand. And that's budgeted on an annual basis. Any other information needed? That has to be in by December the 1st. So it's the reason she needs it to be voted on tonight. Motions.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Nix. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0 as well. No one signed up for public comment in this segment.
No, sir.
We do have the need for executive session, so I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Nix,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Satterfield. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote.
Aye.
And that is approved 4-0 to go into executive session. We'll take a few minutes and then we'll go into executive session. Thank everyone for their attendance, both here and online. Thank you.
Tim, so you say those funds